Silver price is down for the second time in 2 days. Will it continue to fall from here? Also, CBS News is telling people to invest in 1-gram gold bars, and I'm going to explain why this is actually not a good idea. Also, it's looking like Florida may soon adopt gold and silver as legal tender. I'm going to talk about what this means. Lastly, Heraeus is forecasting $40 silver in 2025. Is this a possibility? Let's get into it.
So I went down to the water and found my fate, because I don't wanna be stuck in the good old days. That's when you say, I swear you ain't seen nothing yet.
The new Cross and Flag gold bars, exclusively at sdbullion.com. Thank you so much for watching. I do sincerely appreciate it. Here we have silver sitting at $30.67, down 43 cents on the day. However, yesterday, silver moved down almost $1. So silver has been declining for a couple of days now, and gold is actually moving down as well. Gold now below $2,700 an ounce, sitting at $2,671. So why are precious metals declining? Well, if we take a look at the US dollar index, you can see it has been going up for the last few days. And whenever the dollar gets stronger, it's no surprise to see precious metals getting weaker. A lot of the times they do the opposite, but the reason for the dollar gaining strength is kind of strange. Just yesterday, the producer price index was released, and it was actually up 0.4% for November. Now, when we think about inflation, a lot of us think about the CPI, or the consumer price index, right? How much do we have to pay for goods and services? But the producer price index, how much are these domestic producers getting for their products, is another way to look at inflation. It is up. So the CPI was up the day before. The PPI was up yesterday. And actually, they say on an unadjusted basis, the index for final demand advanced 3% for the 12 months ended in November, the largest rise since moving up 4.7% for the 12 months ended February 2023. So this is a really big jump up for the PPI, and it's the biggest we've seen in almost 2 years. Now, this is not having an impact on the target rate probabilities for the upcoming Fed meeting in just 5 days. They're still predicting with the very high likelihood that we will see a 25 basis point rate cut. However, the markets are forward thinking, and if we move all the way till July of 2025, you can see that CME Group is predicting that the Fed will only do one more rate cut between now and then. So only 2 rate cuts potentially in the next year, as opposed to 3 or 4 rate cuts. So this is good for the dollar, because the dollar wants rates to be high, and that's probably why we're seeing precious metals prices fall. All eyes will certainly be on the Fed next Wednesday. We have the FOMC interest rate decision, but also the comments by Fed Chair Jerome Powell. So depending on how that goes, we could see some fireworks in gold and silver price. We could see them recover from the drop they've had over the last few days, or they could continue to move down. We'll have to wait until next week to see what happens, though. Now we get to CBS News, and they are telling people to invest in 1-gram gold bars before 2025. So I want to talk about why I think this is not a good idea. They say while traditional gold investments often focus on larger quantities, though there's a growing interest in smaller denominations, particularly 1-gram gold bars, especially now that gold prices are climbing back up toward recent all-time highs. They say with the price of gold now sitting above $2,700 per ounce, by the way, that's not the case anymore, but when they wrote this article, it was. They continue, investors are seeking ways to participate in the gold market without committing to larger, more expensive purchases, and that's where 1-gram gold bars come in. These small precious metal holdings are opening new doors for investors who want to enter the gold market with greater flexibility and lower initial investment requirements. Here is the thing. If you don't have a lot of money to put into gold, then don't buy gold. just buy silver. I think silver is a better buy right now. And when it comes to purchasing any gold product, I like to buy either a quarter ounce or greater if you're looking for gold price exposure. If you're not looking for barterability or anything like that, if you just want exposure to the gold price, then you should certainly look at buying quarter ounce gold coins, half ounce, or the best is going to be 1 ounce gold coins. That's what I recommend if anyone wants to buy gold out there. Just for fun, I went on eBay to see what 1 gram bars are going for, and they're going for about $100, maybe a little bit more. But at the end of the day, when you purchase gold in such small quantities, the premium is ridiculous. You're paying hundreds and hundreds of more dollars per ounce when you buy gold this small, as opposed to just buying 1 ounce gold coins. So while I am happy that CBS News is covering gold, I think this advice in particular is pretty poor. All right, now could gold and silver become currency in Florida? And if it does, what would that mean? Precious metals like gold and silver are not legal tender under current Florida law. If the state's chief financial officer gets his way, however, that could change. Now, there is a study being conducted by the Florida Department of Financial Services, and it's going to focus on physical gold and silver in the form of bars and coins to see if they can be used as legal tender. Why would they do this? Well, supporters of making gold and silver legal forms of currency argue that precious metals serve as a viable alternative to the US dollar and other fiat currencies or money that is not pegged to a physical commodity to determine its value. Now, if they do make gold and silver a legal form of currency in Florida, what will this mean? Well, apparently you'd be able to use gold and silver as money in the state to purchase things, but here's the thing, you already can do that if you're bartering with your gold and silver. This is just another step to make sure that it's legal and continues to be legal. Also, as far as taxes go, gold and silver bullion would not be characterized as personal property for state taxation or regulatory purposes, and the biggest one, in my opinion, is that the purchase or sale of any type or form of bullion would not give rise to any state tax liability. So here's the thing, currently in Florida, if you buy gold and silver and spend less than $500 and you're not buying US coins, then you do have to pay taxes on your precious metal purchase, but this would get rid of that. Here is a list of all of the gold and silver legal tender states for 2024, the ones in red being legal. There's only 11 of them, the biggest one being Texas. However, if Florida is added to this list, it might pave the way for more states to adopt gold and silver as legal tender. According to Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1 of the U.S. Constitution, you can see here they write, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. But the biggest one here is that no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. So if a state wants to have their own currency, it has to be made out of gold and silver coins. No state is allowed to have a fiat currency. Of course, the federal government has one, and so most states just don't have any currency at all, but if they wanted one, it has to be gold and silver coins. I think it would be amazing if someday every state could be added to this list. It would really give us the freedom to use that gold and silver as legal tender, but also if they could just do away with the taxes on precious metals. Many states still tax precious metals, and I think that is absolutely ridiculous. If you want to see my video talking about this, I will link it in the description as well as at the end of this video. And last lastly, we get to Heraeus and their forecast for silver price next year. Will silver hit $40 an ounce in 2025? So according to Heraeus Precious Metals, the analyst said that if market conditions unfold as expected, they believe silver will outgain gold once again in 2025. They say the beginning of the next phase of the global interest rate cycle earlier in the year has helped both gold and silver. Meanwhile, relentless growth in solar photovoltaic demand and a strong rebound in implied demand from India have also supported the price on the physical side. They do point out that the gold-silver ratio is elevated and historically it should be lower. They also say that silver tends to outperform gold in the later stages of bull markets, and a reversion to the 27-year mean ratio of 67 as a result of a rally in silver implies a price of $40 an ounce. So if the gold-silver ratio could just get back to where it normally is, we're going to see $40 silver next year. However, they do point out that silver tends to underperform gold in recessions. So if we go into a recession in Q2 of 2025, this is actually not good for silver. So something here to think about as well. That's the news on gold and silver. Again, if you want to see my video on taxes related to precious metals, click on it here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next one. Silver Dragons out.